listen and to take part in the business of the city. Am I too far from it? Or better, huh? Okay. If you would stand with me, I would like to, in lieu of a beginning prayer, I would like to read to you Psalms 118. My compadre, Mr. Miller, is not here this morning, who usually leads us in an invocation, and so I would like to read this. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, because his mercy endureth forever. Let Israel now say that his mercy endureth forever. Let the house of Aaron now say that his mercy endureth forever. Let them now that hear the Lord say that his mercy endureth forever. I called upon the Lord in distress, and the Lord answered me and set me in a large place. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? The Lord taketh my part with them that help me. Therefore shall I see my desire upon them that hate me. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. All nations compass me about, but in the name of the Lord will I destroy them. They compass me about, yea, they compass me, but in the name of the Lord I will destroy them. And then I'll move down to, I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. The Lord hath chastened me sore, but he hath not given me over unto death. Open to me the gates of righteousness. I will go into them, and I will praise the Lord. This gate of the Lord, into which the righteous shall enter, I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me, and have become my salvation. This is the Lord's doing, and this is the day which the Lord hath made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you. If you would join with me now in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Item number 3 is the mayor's report. And I did mention that Mr. Miller, I didn't see him here this morning, but I did want to call to your attention if any of you are about and would like to go to today's school board meeting. He is a former commissioner of the city of Lynn Haven, a longtime educator, and he's going to be honored today as a longtime educator in Bay County. So I'm very proud to announce that, and hope that many can be there for him to receive that honor. I would also, I noticed that Ron Sharp is with us today. He's with the ARC, the St. Andrews Center. I want to welcome you here, and just wanted to, every time I see you, all I can think of is how much that your organization does for the entire county, but we're especially proud that you're located here in Carolina Avenue in Lynn Haven. And I don't know if you've been following on Facebook, but one of Ron Sharp's culinary students is making quite a splash in Bay County, Mason Harden, and she's also become an ambassador and a speaker, as well as having a wonderful position. I believe she's an assistant chef in one of the hotels now out on the beach, and is having a very successful run, and just one of the many success stories. I would also like to mention that today is Lynn Haven's, I don't want to take everyone's glory from this because it's something we're all very proud of, but it's our Black History Month celebration in Lynn Haven. And following today's commission meeting, if you would like to start over to Roberts Hall, you'll find there later today that there are many exhibits which you can enjoy. Excuse me. And then this afternoon at 5:30, we'll begin some live performances, and hope to see all of you there. It's going to be a joyous occasion, and we're very proud to host that for the second year in a row. And then tomorrow, Publix is hosting Publix Appreciation Day. And I'm sure all of you remember in the first days after the storm how quickly that Publix was on its feet and had a lighted parking lot and places for us all to go and find supplies that we needed. And so I would like to read this proclamation, and we'll be presenting it tomorrow at 9 a.m. Over at the Publix store. To the citizens of Lynn Haven, whereas Publix provides essential sustenance to the citizens of Lynn Haven, and whereas Publix furnishes necessary medical and hygienic supplies to the citizens of Lynn Haven, and whereas Publix provides exceptional customer service to the citizens of Lynn Haven, and whereas Publix has generously donated to many City of Lynn Haven citizen events, and Publix offers items supporting entertainment and community in the City of Lynn Haven. And whereas we join with the entire community in thanking Publix personnel for all of their kind and generous efforts in serving citizens across our county. Now therefore, by the virtue and authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Lynn Haven, on behalf of the City Commission and all citizens of Lynn Haven, I do hereby proclaim February 26, 2020 as Public Appreciation Day. honoring all Publix personnel and recognizing all they contribute to our community on a daily basis. In witness whereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Lynn Haven to be affixed this 25th day of February, 2020. If you would join me in a round of applause for all that Publix has done for our community. And I also would like to just remind everyone that on our first Thanksgiving after Hurricane Michael, that Publix provided a white tablecloth, turkey and dressing and all the trimmings dinner for the entire city, which was one of their generous donations. And then recently at our commemoration celebration, they also provided food for the entire city again, which just those two events are pretty magnanimous if you think about that. And finally, I do not have any other activities that I participated in. Most of you probably know my mother. She attends every meeting and usually speaks, to my chagrin sometime. But Mother had an accident this week. She spilled some hot coffee on one in her lap, basically, and is being treated for that. So I've been working with her, seeing the doctor with that. And then her longtime companion and friend and a former mayor, Mr. Bob Gardner, has also been at Emory for a heart test, and he's going to be undergoing surgery later in the month. And so if you keep them in your prayers, I would appreciate that. And with that, that's the end of the mayor's report, and I would pass to Commissioner Perno.
Thank you, Mayor. Not much to report. I did attend a table talk with our city manager, Ms. Vicki Gaynor, and I thought it was a very successful event. And I think it's something we can build on to move forward in a positive light and have another format for the city manager to be transparent and stand in front of the citizens and answer their questions. I thought it was a really good thing, and it's just a pleasure to see the garden club up and running too, and the work that everybody put into it. I think it was amazing that the folks here did all the work. I also attended the seniors lunch on Thursday last week, and it was a lot of fun to get out there and visit with the folks that are really looking forward to getting that senior center open. It was a great meeting. I'll let Commissioner Russell expound on that because he brought the plans and got them really excited. So, and then I believe it was yesterday we toured the ACMT building and the old Honeywell building, and Mr. Polo and Milt Ives, the chief operations, they had a group of county commissioners and the city commissioners and Miss Vicki again. We toured the facility. It was quite awe-inspiring to see all the square footage under the roof and what they intend to do. And they only had approximately a third of the building ready, and it looks like the amount of work that they have that they want to bring down from Connecticut. It's just amazing to see that the industry that's going to move in here and what it's going to impact our town. So that was good to see. I tried to help a couple of citizens with different issues, and that's about all I have. So thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Perno. Commissioner Aldridge.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I want to second everything that Commissioner Perno was saying. It's been a busy couple of weeks here. We've had a lot of things going on, but I do especially want to point out and say how proud I am of our staff and of getting the garden center going, getting that building up and ready and looking like it does. And the amount of time that you guys did it is beyond commendable, and I'm thankful to you guys, each and every one of you. And I'm thankful to everyone else here. So I just want to put that out there that we're all working hard and it is not going unrecognized. So thank you all so very much. The only other thing I kind of want to point out is that I know that there's been, I've been reached out to from the county and some other municipalities out on the beach. And there's been a lot of, I guess, slack with a lot of the DOT cleaning up on a lot of the state roads. And so one of the things I want us to look at or entertain is possibly looking at some of the state roads coming up. I know the beach has agreed to look at, for instance, State 79, and I know the county has agreed to look at, I think, 388. And, you know, if we could look at 77, even though I know we're maintaining some of it now, but this is kind of a joint effort here that we're trying to do. And so I want to just bring that up for the public to know that we're interested in cleaning up this area. We're interested in making sure that our home is as beautiful as ever. And even though there is debris, there is clutter, there are all these things that we still have to look at every single day. It's getting better. And I promise you that we're taking a hard look. All of us that are in leadership across this county are taking a hard look at how we can clean up our roads and do what we have to do to get the stuff looking right, even if the state doesn't want to, particularly help us at times. Even though I'm very thankful to the state as well for everything they do. So let me put that out there. They do work hard with us, but we also have something we can do. So other than that, I just want to again say that I'm so excited for our future. We're getting into the buildings and into the actual architectural stuff that that we'll be looking at for the next 100 years on our city streets here. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad, and I hope that you guys are excited as well. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Russell?
Thank you, Mayor. First, that's kind of loud. First, I'd like to say that I'll definitely want to keep your mother and her partner in our prayers.
Thank you.
I have been to a couple of different functions. The Garden Club grand opening, amazing job. Ms. Gaynor, her staff did a really good job with the grand opening, and Mr. Footen and his staff did a really good job with that building. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the senior center now. Attended the Board of Adjustments meeting the other night, which I guess is the first one we've had in a while. And apparently we only have 4 members on that. So if anybody's interested in serving on the Board of Adjustments, please come see somebody up here and we'll see if we can't get you an application. I did attend the senior luncheon, and first I'd like to qualify that. There's been some questions about commissioners attending functions and people claiming that it's outside the Sunshine Law. I would like to explain my understanding of the Sunshine Law is we are allowed to be at functions together as long as we don't discuss city business, anything that may come up before this commission as a vote. Me and Commissioner Aldridge attended the senior center luncheon last month, and we got beat up on Facebook pretty bad about it. I just want to let you know, I'm not going to break Sunshine Law. Number one, because it's illegal. Number two, I don't want to pay the fine. So understand that we are allowed to go to lunch. We're allowed to socialize. We're allowed to be at functions as long as we don't talk about city business. That being said, I was invited back to the senior luncheon that I attended this week, and they had asked me if I would bring the plans for the senior center. And let me tell you, that's a feisty group of seniors because they had a lot of ideas that they wanted changed.
They were very excited. It was good.
Yes.
It was fun to see.
But again, there was no decisions made, no discussion made because the plans are already there and they're moving forward with it. So, but I hope to attend all those luncheons because that's a really good group of people. I've had a couple of meetings with our HR director about employee insurance, employee health insurance, as well as the retirement of employees, which I'll get into the retirement part when we get down to item 11. But again, y'all probably remember when we talked about health insurance, I was kind of adamant that the city pay 100% of insurance for the employees, and I got beat back on that. So I think we settled at 95%. Well, part of the push with this new company was we were going to get a rebate back, and I'll let Ms. Gaynor expand on that rebate that we're going to get back from our health insurance. And I would love to see this commission consider flipping that rebate back in and helping pay this, the rest of the insurance for the employees. Let's see what else. Anybody that's interested, we have a long-term recovery task force meeting Thursday, the 27th at 2 p.m. My understanding is that it's going to be at the Bay County Chambers on 11th Street. The census people will be there discussing how they're going to hurt us. I still contend I think the census is going to bother us and affect us monetarily. Let's see what else. Oh, and the last thing I've got, and then I'll be done. I've had several complaints about the drain inlet at Illinois and 14th Street. Just full disclosure, I have just brought this up today. I haven't talked to anybody in the city about it yet. So, but there was some discussion about trying to raise that inlet to get it to the road level so that people won't bottom out when they hit it. So if I could get the city manager to take a look at that, I would appreciate it. Mayor, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Tender?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been working with a few residents on some land issues. And other than that, I have no report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tender. Item number 5 is the city manager's report. Mrs. Gaynor?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to follow up with Commissioner Russell about the insurance, we have insurance with Florida Blue. And sure enough, they did say that there was some incentive money that will be coming back to us, and it's contingent upon that we stay at a certain percentage in terms of using our health insurance. We have done that, and this is right now at 25%, that we have an incentive bonus of $40,000 that's coming back to the city. And I do think that we need to take that money and put it back into our health insurance plan to help give even more incentives for our employees. And so that's a great thing. And then every year, to this year it's 25%, it goes up 10% each year, 35% next year. So we do get some incentive back from it. I think it's a great plan that we have. So thank you, employees, and thank you, Commission. We did meet with the 3 firms who will be designing our buildings. 2 of those firms we actually met with, Florida Architect and DAG, some really good meetings. Those are initial meetings to kind of put together scopes and items that we need within these buildings to go back and put together the 30% plans. Many of the firms have been visiting all of the buildings, interviewing staff, meeting with various commissioners and mayor, talking about what is needed, and then of course what's the wish list, and then once those plans are put together at 30%, what we like to do is to bring that before the commission and the public, to have a workshop to look at those plans and then move forward from there so that we can get the city rebuilt. We are well on our way to rebuilding this city. There's some great things that are happening within the city, and I want to continue that process. We have momentum, and I look forward to the opportunity and to see how things will come out. Next, I did meet with the Northwest Florida Regional Library folks. We talked about us being a part of that membership, and I really think it's a great program for us to be a part of. I think that will be something that will be enhancement for the residents. We will have other amenities in terms of with this membership. One of the things that they've already received a grant for is a library bus that's actually mobile, and it can set up places to where people who want to have access, not only when we get our media center up and going, but also any of the libraries within Bay County, they can go in and fill out a library card now, and that library card will give access to any of the libraries within the county. So I think it's a great opportunity for us, and very interested in being a part of that. And they were very interested in partnering with us so that we can still have access to a lot of the things that they have, and vice versa. So more to come on that. I have had, for the past almost 2 weeks, scheduled town hall meetings with staff. Where I came from, that town hall meetings were very, very informal, but informational, listening to employees' concerns and needs. Got some really great feedback from employees of some of the things we could fix very, very easily. Some of them very short term, and some of them very long term, but really great ideas, feedback. And now I'll be meeting with directors on some things that I think that we can implement or fix very easily. But I enjoyed that, and the department that I have left now is PD, and we'll be doing that sometime this week. The garden Cinder grand opening, of course, everybody's heard that. It was a great success. It's beautiful, and it had so much great feedback on it. The next day, we actually had the health fair, which is absolutely a success. Like to thank the communication girls and Kelly for pulling that together. It was just packed out. One time there was not any room within the garden center. And so we look forward to next year that it was so big. Hopefully that the senior center will be finished by then. can move it to a larger location, have more vendors, and really bring it to the city of Lynn Haven. And it was just was not our residents. There were residents all over Bay County that came out to the health fair. So thank you again for attending that. And then lastly, the table talk did go very, very well. We had about 15 residents that came out. It's very informal, but ask questions of all kind. And the residents were really, really grateful to have that opportunity to discuss things and talk about some of the areas of their concern, for me to take those down and go back and put those on our list of things to take care of. Some of the things we could, we handled the next day. And then there are some concerns, particularly residents want to see the city move forward. They were very concerned about it being a very positive environment and moving forward to rebuild the city and being united and be the premier city of Bay County. So it was a very, very good meeting. And then lastly, there will be a workshop on April 14th. The forensic auditors will come back with their report. Probably we'll have some conversation before then, but I just wanted to make sure we put that on our calendars. We'll probably we'll do a workshop before the meeting. And Mayor, that's my report, except for one other thing. I'd like for the Lynn Haven Rotary to come front, because they have a presentation that's a pretty awesome presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ben Janke. This is Ron Sharp. We are here to present or to represent the Lynn Haven Rotary Club in front of the City Commission. In the spirit of our club's motto, service above self, we would like to present this check in the amount of $7,500 to the City Commission. These funds are for the renovation of the Senior Citizen Center, specifically the kitchen. We know this is a monumental task, and this is our share to give back to the community.
Thank you so much.
We're trying to get the July pancake breakfast going again, so we need to.
Thank you again for such a generous donation. That's going to mean so much to the senior citizens of the city of Lynn Haven and beyond. At this time, item number 6 will be our city attorney's report. Mr. Albritton?
No report at this time.
Thank you, sir. Item number 7 is public commentary. This is your opportunity if you have something that you would like to address the commission about on any topic. Also, if there's something on today's agenda that you would like to speak to, you will also have an opportunity during the course of the meeting on any item to speak and to give your opinion to the commission. So at this time, item number 7, is there anyone who would like to speak during the public commentary section of the meeting? Yes, ma'am. Do you need help adjusting that? Or are you good? Can you get it? Okay, thank you.
Right now, the only way the public, I guess I do.
It's
need-
fine. We can
Right now, the only way the public can watch the city commission meetings is on Facebook. Not everyone likes being on Facebook. And I would appreciate it if you'd post the meetings also on your website and make them easy to find. Right
you.
now, the last one that was on there, it's been a while since I checked, but it was last year. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Appreciate that. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Morning, Rich Walker. I seem to be a little bit off on the meeting times. We've been through this for the last 15 years, changing the times of the commission meetings. We tried this, we tried that, and we tried to pull something out of the air. And it doesn't seem to be working. It seems one person is in control of setting up the meeting times. I'm getting comments, you're getting comments, maybe. And we're under control of Facebook. Seems that Facebook is controlling our meetings and politics and everything like that. It's been understood that 9 o'clock is now. Is that the day and time? 9 o'clock in the morning, every meeting will be 9. What is the new plan?
It's the second meeting of the month, Mr. Walker,
Second meeting in the month is at 9. What is the first?
4 p.m.
4 o'clock. Okay. We tried 6 and at night and then in the morning too. Most people can't make this 9 o'clock, as you can see. And we're getting comments that the 9 o'clock one doesn't work. So can criticism, not criticism, but a suggestion like the lady did at the last meeting, change the 9 o'clock in the morning meeting? And I'm going to say the same thing. I know we don't run on one person doing things, but we are running on one person doing things. So I'd like to make my point about 9 o'clock in the morning. It's no good for the general public. And most people do not have Facebook. And most people do not sit at home and stream this. Most people can't get on it. Most people don't have computers. So the general public, I think, is being a little bit slighted on this. Second of all, I'd like to mention, and as you get into the minutes, I noticed the minutes of the meeting are very, very slanted. The public is never repeated, not word for word, but in context. For example, Mr. Miller said something, but the staff went in and said a complete dissertation on a problem. But what words Mr. Miller or myself said are never repeated in the minutes. They might have been constructive ideas that the public would have liked to see. I know as a captain on a boat that the log is supposed to be the law. And I understand that. Do we use the film of the minutes as the law? Because our minutes are not descriptive of what everybody says.
I believe your time is up, Mr. Walker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Mayor, could I address the time
You certainly may.
for just a moment? You know, Mr. Walker, I know there's people of different opinions on the times. You know, I just want to put out there though that every other municipality in Bay County has a morning meeting. So it's not uncommon, is my point in saying that. We all have our
Commissioner
preferences.
Aldridge, with due respect, Panama City Beach has an evening meeting. Sorry.
Okay, no, I stand corrected then. I apologize. That being said, it's not unheard of, was my point. It's not a crazy idea, but I'm not opposed to changing the time back to another time. That's part of government. We discuss things and figure out issues and try to work together on these things. My whole thing was I wanted to see in the mornings how many people are viewing, how many numbers we are getting. And I'm not sure if we've been recording that number, but I do want to record and see what the morning viewership is versus the evening viewership as a whole. Because as you know, numbers do not lie. So numbers are numbers. If there's a lot of people in the morning watching the meetings, then it is. If there's not, there's not. And I don't feel either way about it. If the numbers aren't there, we'll move the meeting back. If everybody wants to do that, I'm fine with that. But I wanted to say from our standpoint, why we moved the meeting to 9. It wasn't just let's move the meeting to 9. We're trying to see what does work, and that's trial and error. So thank you. Thank
you. Did anyone else on the commission wish to address? I've given that opportunity to Mr. Aldridge, Commissioner Aldridge, excuse me.
If I may, Mayor. I tend to agree with Mr. Walker because when we met at 4 and 6, we had much larger groups than this. And I also tend to agree, even though obviously Facebook is my friend, but a lot of the seniors do not get on Facebook. And I guess to what Commissioner Aldridge said, they might be watching, but if we don't give them the opportunity to be here in person, they cannot speak. You know, they don't have any way to get back to us and share their concerns. They might be watching, but they don't have an opportunity to speak. So I personally would be in favor of going back to 4 and 6. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the commission who wishes to address?
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead, Commissioner Russell.
I can't speak for the rest of the commission, but just so you know, this was discussed at we had an emergency meeting several months ago, and the discussion was how many people were viewing the live stream. There were more people that viewed that live stream than we've ever had at one of these commission meetings. That's the reason this commission looked at moving one to 9 a.m. I don't know, again, I can't speak for the rest of the commission, but as to Tinder's comments, every night after the commission meeting, I go back and rewatch the meeting so that I can see the comments that people post. And I make a point that I want to make sure that I see what people say and get their responses. And anything that's brought before this commission can always come back before this commission for a revote if there's enough people that complain about it. And I'd also like to point out, it's not that I want to correct the mayor, but Panama City Beach has separate meeting times. They have one at 9 a.m. and they have one at 6 p.m. So that is pretty much normal that you try to have two different times so people that can come in the morning or people that can come in the evening. So that's all I've got, Mayor. Thank you.
That's fine. Thank you so much. Commissioner Perno, did you want to weigh in?
No, I'm okay. Anytime y'all want to meet, I'm good. I
Okay.
run a restaurant, so
Okay.
I'm available till midnight.
Well, I will weigh in because of the fact that when I first became mayor in 2015, I did fight long and hard for an evening meeting because that's what I promised to do when I became mayor. And so I was a little distressed about the fact that the new commission voted for a new time. So just wanted to go on the record that I'm still in favor of an evening meeting. And I was not offended at all by Commissioner Russell saying that, yes, Panama City Beach has different times, because I didn't say they didn't. I just said that they do have evening meetings. 4 o'clock cannot be considered an evening meeting. As a teacher of almost 30 years, I can tell you that I could never tune in to Facebook while I was teaching a class, or I would have lost my job. A nurse can't do that. A fireman can't do that. A policeman can't do that. So I do still stand in favor of an evening meeting. And I think if citizens continue to speak about it, that we might want to readdress it. You can watch a meeting on Facebook at 6 o'clock in the evening, just like you can at 9 a.m. if you choose to stay at home and watch the meeting. My husband does that quite frequently because he's afraid he might speak out of turn to defend his wife, the mayor. So he always watches from home at whatever time the meeting is. So anyway, is there any further comment on that? And then we'll move on. Public commentary. Yes, go ahead, Mrs. Harris.
This was actually supposed to be my second part of my
Okay,
question.
well, you didn't use your whole
And,
3 minutes, so go ahead.
It was actually that I totally disagree with the 9 a.m. meetings. They have never been well attended, and it gives the impression that you don't want people in here and you don't want to hear them face to face. That's the impression it gives to the public.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Just for another perspective, I would like to say that some of us actually don't like to be out in the evenings. I like to be home. I like to be cooking. I like to be home with my family. So having a morning meeting is actually a nice thing because I like to attend the morning meetings, and maybe trying to market the meetings so other people will actually be more aware of them. We'll actually try and bring more people in, because if you tend to look at the clientele or the citizens and stuff like that, I always am the youngest one in them. There's never anyone generally like under the age of 40 that's going to them. So if we try and bring in younger people to them and try and get to people that might be working 3 p.m. to midnight, you're going to have a lot of people that are actually going to be available for those morning meetings that will be able to come. Now, another aspect that you could probably look at is maybe if you have a 9 a.m. meeting, instead of airing it at 9 a.m., why don't you air it at 6 p.m.? So the people that are available at 6 p.m. could watch that meeting that was done at 9 a.m. So you can have both time frames for that same day. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you for
Thank
coming and
you.
participating. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
Mayor, if I may,
Sure, go ahead, Commissioner Russell.
may I suggest a compromise that that we leave the 9 a.m. meeting where it is and move the 4 p.m. meeting to 6 p.m.
If we could have that in the form of a motion, Commissioner Russell, we could discuss it.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we do that, ma'am.
That we would,
That
okay.
we would keep the second meeting of the month at 9 a.m. and move the first meeting of the month to 6 p.m.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there further discussion from the commission?
I think the number one rule of politics is compromise, so thank you.
Any discussion from the public? Yes, ma'am.
Would you be willing to put in that motion, because I don't participate in Facebook myself, and a lot of municipalities, all you got to do is go to their website and you can look at the meetings anytime you want to. So, you talk about transparency, and it's true. You can't please everyone, can you? But you could put it on your website. I would encourage you, for the sake of transparency, that you put it on your website. I don't think it's very difficult. Small municipalities do it all the time. So I hope you would consider adding that to your motion. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may?
And
I'm sorry. yes, ma'am.
if before you amend the motion, if I may say, in the past that we have logged all of our meetings on YouTube, and that recently, I'm not sure what, because we changed some technology, whatever, it had only been on Facebook. But I do know the city manager's already I'll let her speak to it, but she's already taken steps to move that meeting back to YouTube so that it is logged and cataloged. So you want to address that, Commissioner? Mrs. Gaynor.
And we are working to move that back to YouTube, but I'm sure some of you probably don't remember, it did used to be on YouTube, and we moved it from YouTube to Facebook because we got so many complaints that people could not access YouTube. So we moved it to Facebook, but we are surely moving it back now to YouTube, and we will have it on Facebook as well. So we're working on that. Okay.
So there will be two ways to stream it and also to catalog, is my understanding. Commissioner Russell, you have made the motion and it has been seconded. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes, Mayor. Is there any way, Graham, that we could just record it onto a flash drive or something and then save it to the actual website of the meeting for people to go to? Is that something we're working on now instead of just having it on YouTube?
Graham, do you mind coming to the microphone so everyone can hear you? I'm sorry. I know you're doing double duty there. Is that possible without? Yeah. Okay.
The only issue with doing that directly is the file size of the meeting, since they do get quite long whenever we go on multiple hours.
Sure.
So what we will do is we'll put it on YouTube, and then we'll have a YouTube display on the website.
Yes.
So it's not really a link, it's
Yes.
embedded video on the website.
Oh,
So
okay,
you
okay,
watch
I
it from
gotcha.
the website.
Sure,
It's just
sure.
linking to YouTube.
So it will be on our city webpage.
Yes.
Then that's what
Correct.
everybody's
It's just going to be
wanting.
posted on
Yes, it
YouTube's
will.
website.
Yes.
Good deal. Thank you.
Nope.
Thank you so much. Is there any further questions or discussion from the commission? Any from the public? Mrs. Gaynor, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Commissioner Perna?
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes, so that motion does pass. So if you could pass that word along, if we could get it on the website, we can make sure that everyone understands. The first meeting of the month will now be at 6 p.m. and the second meeting of the month will be at 9 a.m. Moving on now to the consent agenda, items 8, 9, and 10. Those are the minutes from the February 11th regular meeting. Number 9, the discussion and possible approval of a residential incentive program application for 1106 Maryland Avenue. Item number 10, discussion and possible approval of a residential incentive program application for 1108 Maryland Avenue, contingent upon completion. Is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. Any discussion of the agenda by the commission? Any from the public? There appears to be none. Mrs. Gaynor, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes, so the consent agenda stands approved. Old business, item number 11 is the second reading of ordinance number 1089 regarding the city manager's vesting period. There will be action required on this. Mrs. Gaynor, could you please read ordinance number 1089? And while you're looking for that, did the city attorney have any comments that you would like to make?
Mayor, if I could pass those comments to Commissioner Aldridge, I believe he has something he'd like to announce to the
Okay.
commission related to both 11 and 12.
Okay.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. You know, in the last couple of weeks since we've had these discussions, again, I'm all about discussion and figuring out solutions to problems that we have. In the last couple of weeks, we've had multiple employees that's come up and said that they've had some issues with certain aspects of this, and we all have differing opinions on this. That being said, I've started working on a couple of alternate routes that I think may make people happier than the route that we're looking at now, including Miss Vicky. She's abreast of what I'm talking about right now. So what I want to do right now, until we can get further details on these other alternatives that I'm working on, I would like to make the motion that we table this till the next meeting, and then I plan to bring back some other ideas to the next meeting that we can all hash out and see if we can't figure out you know, a solution that's going to work and make everybody happy at the end of the day.
Thank you, Commissioner Aldridge. When you say table this, are you speaking of items 11 and 12 or only 11?
11 and 12, Mayor.
11 and 12. So would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I make the motion that we table items 11 and 12 until the first meeting in March.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second. Yeah.
Okay, there is a motion and a second that we table items 11 and 12. Just for the reminder to the public and the board, Commissioner Aldridge is the commissioner who worked to negotiate the city manager's contract, which is why Commissioner Aldridge is taking the lead in this discussion. So there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion from the public? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Rich Walker. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Gaynor, would you please call the roll?
Mayor, if may I make-
I'm sorry, I'd already asked for commission, and so I
Oh, did you?
didn't
I'm
see
sorry.
you.
I
You
didn't
can
hear.
certainly speak. I just
Okay.
didn't mean to overlook you. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, ma'am, if you don't mind. As I alluded to in my commissioner's report, I reached out to HR about this issue. Unbeknownst to me that Commissioner Aldridge has done it too, apparently, with discussion about possibly looking at going to the state retirement system, and that apparently is not an option. But I wanted to make everybody aware that I've got an email from the actuary as well as the attorney for the pension fund. And it is my understanding from reading this email that if the commission does decide to do this, it will not directly affect the employees. There will be some cost to the city, but there'll be no detrimental or cost to the pension fund or the employees. So, I mean, if any commissioner would like to read this, I've got it here for them to read, or anybody in the public would like to read it, I've got it. But that's all I've got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that I received similar correspondence, and I think everyone else probably did as
Okay.
well. And so we also received advice from our city attorney. So, you know, I don't think there's any point in saying anything else about it, except the fact that it was really a commission decision. And our attorney had advised us that, you know, that it was perfectly okay to go ahead with it. And so this commission now has decided, based on Commissioner Aldridge's motion, that we will look at it again. And so, Mrs. Gaynor, would you please call the roll? We'll find that out.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes, so we'll be revisiting those two items. So we'll move on to item number 13, which is the discussion and possible approval of resolution 2020-02-311, which is revising the city fee schedule, and there will be action required on this. Mrs. Gaynor, would you please read the resolution for the commission?
A resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, amending chapters 2, 14, 30, 42, 70, and 86 of the fee schedule and Appendix A of the City of Lynn Haven Code of Ordinances and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Is there any report from, I notice we have planning director listed. Is there a report that you need to give, or are you just listed as the person for questions?
I'm really just listed as the person, but there was one thing that I wanted to bring, or two probably, that I wanted to bring to your attention.
You could use the microphone.
First off, some of the changes that are in here that are related to impact fees are already in the updated schedule. They just weren't on this document. So they aren't actually new. They are just because this document hasn't been updated for a number of years. They are now reflected in this document also. Everything else is new. And you probably realize, but I did want to bring it to your attention that I have actually reduced some of the fees from the planning department regarding plat review, because we did some research and looked at what other municipalities and the county were charging, and we were charging way above for plat review. So that's why I have requested or recommended that we reduce those fees.
Thank you. Is there a motion for discussion and possible approval of the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the commission? I did have one item that I wanted to bring up. Was there anyone else? I'm sorry, I didn't wait very long. And this is not about the actual fee, but about the wording. If you look under, I believe it's page 3, under the animal shelter. We're using the term fixed, male dogs fixed, female dogs fixed, cats, so forth. If we could change that terminology to spayed and neutered, that would make me feel a lot better about this being a formal document. So is there any problem with us doing that? Mr. Albritton?
No, ma'am, that wouldn't be a material change. So
Thank
this
you.
can still be voted on with that change.
Thank you. Does anyone have any objection to that? Thank you very much. That'll just make it a more formal terminology. I would like that. Is there any further discussion? Mrs. Gaynor, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldrich,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes, and it stands approved. Thank you. Item number 14, discussion and possible award of the bid for improvements to lift station number 4 and number 12 to the lowest bidder, L&R Contracting LLC. Public Utility Director, is there any report on this that we need to hear, or you're just here for questions? Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Kidwell, who's our Public Utility Director, before we have a motion in a second?
I do.
Please go
I
ahead.
don't really know if this should be directed to you. Were the bidding sheets included in this packet? Because I don't have them.
They should have been. It did go out for bid, and we had a bid opening here.
You got yours? Oh, that's not the sheets, though. That's just the
tabulation.
The tabulation.
scores.
Yeah. Is it possible to see those?
Sure.
Can I get them
I don't
from?
have them.
Well,
Yeah,
I know
but-
you don't have them now, but yeah, I would just like to see them.
My question would be, Commissioner Tender, would your request to see the actual bid packet, would that be something that would be contingent before you would want us to go forward with the bid, or is that just something you want to see?
Just something I want to
Okay.
see.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kidwell. So is there a motion regarding this item?
So moved.
Second.
So is there any further discussion regarding the award of this contract? Any from the public? There appears to be none. Thank you, Mr. Kidwell. Mrs. Gaynor, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldrich,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes, so motion stands approved. Item number 15 is a discussion regarding the proposed food truck ordinance. City Attorney, do you have a report regarding this?
Yes, Mayor. As I previously emailed out this proposed ordinance, and I asked that it only be on the agenda for discussion purposes to get the commission's thoughts on the revisions I made. I've tried to incorporate what I've been told in the previous meetings into this document. There's probably a good chance that I've missed some for some of the commissioners, but if I could get some feedback from this commission, I'll try and put a finalized version together and have it ready for the agenda on at our next meeting.
Is there any discussion or suggestions from the commission for Mr. Albritton?
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead, please.
Mr. Albritton, we've had a couple of conversations about this, and I'm not against food trucks. I just want to make sure we protect, and I've said that a bunch of times, we protect our brick and mortar restaurants, which I think you've done a fairly good job of, I think you've done a good job of stipulating where they need to be. My main concern now is the fee. I still think that $200 a year is not significant enough of a fee to offset the cost that the brick and mortars are paying for property tax. So you're going to have basically a restaurant owner come in here, set up his trailer, pay $200 a year, where we've got brick and mortars that are paying upwards of $4,000 or $5,000 in property tax, and being in direct competition. And I still have an issue with that. I know I suggested a weekly or monthly fee. That way somebody doesn't have to pay $1,000, to put a food truck in here. We let them pick which week they want, and they pay an appropriate fee for that week. I know that creates extra work for our staff, but I think that's probably the only fair way to allow the food trucks to be able to operate without having to pay the exorbitant fee, but also protect our brick and mortars. So I would seriously like us to consider going to either a weekly or monthly fee and significantly increasing the $200.
Is there any further discussion from the commission?
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead, Commissioner Tindall.
I don't have it open right now, but I thought I had read where you put in that they could only set up for a 24-hour period and had to take it down. And I loved all the stop signs, 150 feet from here. They won't be parked anywhere near me because I got more driveways and stop signs than you can imagine. But I agree with Commissioner Russell in the sense that it needs to be sensible, though, because the people that have food trucks, they can't afford to, pay $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever, especially if they're only set up for the day. If they're set up for the day, that's a huge difference. I can't imagine anybody wanting to set up for a week somewhere. But it says right in here that they have to tear it down and take it away and all of that every night.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. And that I believe, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I believe you had made a comment at our last discussion about concerns that they would just leave up a food truck and just operate it at will. So that's why I added that language in. So it should limit how long a food truck can be in one location that is not the storage location. That would be operating location.
Right. And I also thought I read somewhere where we're going to this would say that they could not have any fluorescent coloring on their trailer. I got to tell you, I saw a gorgeous Mexican restaurant food truck yesterday. It caught my eye and it went and it was done in excellent taste. So I don't know if we should, or, I don't know if we're going over our boundaries by telling them what color they can paint their food truck. But
that was, and I certainly can change it anyway. When it's not always an easy task to take 5 opinions and incorporate it into a document, but the general consensus at the time was that we needed more structure for the food trucks, and I understand the fee was an issue too, but on this, so I tried to add as much structure to our ordinance as I could. I can certainly, if you don't like the fluorescent light restriction, then I certainly can just delete it if that's the will of the commission.
I would echo Commissioner Tinder. I don't think it was it wasn't fluorescent lighting. It was actually fluorescent paint. So it was just the color. So I think that I do agree with her on that. And I also wanted to just make a couple of comments. I really think that food trucks is something that this city, the residents want. I've had a lot of residents talk to me about it, about having that opportunity, having those choices. And with great respect, because I mean, no ill will about it. Two of our sitting commissioners are food restaurant business owners. All of us have businesses, and I think that we have to look beyond that and look at what the wishes of the community are. Food trucks are very popular. I think that you've done an excellent job in making this an ordinance which will make these trucks safe, sanitary, appropriate, something that everyone can enjoy. And especially since Hurricane Michael, there's such a limited number of places where people can actually go to eat. And so this is great, I think, and something that this commission should really seriously consider passing. One item in the ordinance that I would like to really talk about, though, is if you have a food truck, it's saying that you have to, if you live in Lynn Haven, that you have to park that food truck in a covered garage out of sight of neighbors or under a covered building, which I think is a good thing. But I also think that applies to all the other contractors and these large trailers that are parked all over the neighborhoods and these trucks. I think that if we do this with food trucks, that we really must do that with everyone. I can give you about 10 different examples right now of yards where there are huge businesses set up operating right in neighborhoods, and it's gone on too long. So it's my comment. Any further comment from the commission? So I guess at this point that we're not getting a motion from anyone, so we're just in discussion, and I would offer one more time to the commission, and then I would open it to the public for any discussion from the public.
And Mayor, just so the commission's aware, I'll try and take the advice from this commission, incorporate that in. I will talk to Ms. Gaynor on some of the fee issues and the employee use issues that she would be responsible for, and try and incorporate all this into a final, hopefully acceptable ordinance related to food trucks, and present this at the next meeting would be my goal.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, may I
Commissioner
say-
Tinder?
I'll
Sure,
have
go
one more
ahead.
question. Is there anything in the document that about where the food is prepared? I'm very concerned. There is. Okay,
Yes,
so nobody's at
commissary.
home preparing food, throwing it on a truck.
Not supposed to be, and they're also regulated similarly to how your restaurants are regulated too. So there'll be other state agencies that will that should be enforcing their rules and restrictions on the administrative level. But yes, ma'am, that is referenced in this.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion from the public regarding food trucks? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
My only comment with fees on it is by doing basically the $200 a year, while both of you guys said over there that it is somewhat of a low cost. If you charge $200 a year, what you might end up doing is actually limiting the amount of food trucks you might get, because even though it is a low cost, some people might go and say, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to want to commit to a whole entire year at Lynn Haven. What if something happens? What if I move? What if it's just not bringing in the amount of people that I want? So they might say, I might not get the return on my money for $200, and I don't want to invest that amount of money. So if you do it monthly, that seems to me the better option, just because you might be able to have someone who can go and say, oh, let's try it out for a month. Let's see how it goes. And if I like it, then I can keep doing it and doing it. Or they might decide to change and go down to the beach for a couple months during the summer, or however much. People with food trucks tend to like to move. They like to change. They like to keep their locations consistently changing and not always stay at one place. So just I lived out in Colorado, and there was millions of food truck festivals all over. So just some food from thought from some experience on that. So
Thank you very much. Are there
Mayor?
other comments about the food trucks?
Mayor, if I may.
Please, go ahead.
I love that idea, and maybe we should look into a sliding scale. You know, start out, like she said, they want to check us out and see if the business is worth the cost. So possibly it would start out lower and slide up a little bit if they really are making money. It's all about making money for them. So that would be something to consider too, a sliding scale.
Or quarterly.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you 3 months.
Listening to this discussion, obviously, I'll do what the commission wants. There's no debate there. But listening to this discussion, I would consider a monthly with a yearly option, with the yearly being a little bit reduced price. You know, and I'm making up numbers, but if it was $100 a month and you bought for 12 months, it'd be $1,200. So if you bought a year, you'd get $100 or $200 off, or whatever the appropriate number is. I know that Commissioner Russell would like to see that number go way up. I'm using made up numbers at this point, but because I need to check with the other staff to make sure that they can handle it. You know, we will have to now set up something to take on the monthly business. I assume it won't be that that high, but I do need to check with Ms. Gaynor. But that is a thought that where you'd have both options. If you just knew you were going to set up in Lynn Haven and use it Lynn Haven as a base, then you could buy yearly. If not, you could do monthly as well.
You know, I don't think we want to put ourselves out of business. If we want to attract food trucks, the price has to be affordable. If you're selling ice cream cones, they're not going to be able to afford to pay $200. They'll never sell that much in ice cream in a day.
I don't, no disagreement here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion from the commission? Okay, so there's no action then on item number 15. And that brings us to item number 16, which is adjournment. I'd like to thank you all for coming today. Remind you that our next meeting will be meeting at 6 p.m. in the evening. I'm sorry, I've left something out. Oh, no, I mentioned it in the mayor's report, but I'll remind you again that today is Black History Celebration Day. It's now starting over at Roberts Hall. There are exhibits there, and then we will have a program this evening beginning at 5:30. Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned.